Hello everyone and welcome to my video on how to be a top laner. This is the third video of my 5-part series in League of Legends, how to lane in League of Legends I should add. So in this game I'm Pantheon top and this is a ranked game. So basically to start off, I usually go Pantheon top. I really start with a longsword and then 3 health pots. That gives me a good amount of attack damage, which a longsword is 10 plus attack damage, and then 3 health pots, which give me a good enough health. And then I always do flash and ignite. So for those newcomers that are watching this video, you probably will not have flash. You get flash at level 12, but that's just something you have to get. But so usually to start, I go to red. I watch that just in case if they invade red, and then if they just in case if they do invade red, I will start to ping, showing that they do. So it just warns our jungler. It's always good to let your team know. Communication is key. So I'm just gonna get to pretty much started on how I top lane first. So I mainly get first blood, and I do end up getting first blood in this video. That's very important to me. It gives me an upper edge on my teammate, or on the enemy that I'm facing. So I mean, this Riven is actually very aggressive against me, and I don't think she realizes my passive, which is a block. She starts to dive me right here, and one of the reasons why you shouldn't dive when you have low health, and me being a Pantheon, I know Pantheon very well. From his passive to how big his Q is at certain levels, and what I can do to get it. And what I know how to get out of situations just like that. It's always good to have a main champion, whether playing top lane or not. Always have a main champion to go to, your go-to champ. I know people have main go-to champs in ADC and mid and stuff like that. Like if I were to go to jungle, I'd automatically pick a Mumu because that is one of my best junglers I know, and I can definitely change the game with a Mumu. From ganks to ults to anything like that to change the game. So that's basically on my laning. So right there, Trundle, I gave Trundle a little support, so I made Warwick back off. Warwick's pretty deadly at level 6, so that just really depends on that. So I'm actually just gonna get into it now. Like I said, first blood I usually try to go for. CS is very important to me as well, but I do not try to focus it in this game. I'm not a very good CSer, which is obviously farm, so always try to focus on last hitting, which I will get into in just a second. So I'm just going to start it off, just pretty much all the top lane know-hows and what you need to know to be in top lane, and I'll just let you guys watch from here. So to start off, I'm just going to start with the purpose of a solo top lane. Whether it's normals or whether it's ranked, it does not matter. So the solo top lane, obviously solo, it just gives you, so instead of, when you pretty much start out in normals, as a newcomer, or even like through the levels like 10 to 15 to 20, even to 25 even, people do still do duo top lane. Once you start to get to ranked in higher level 30 games, people want to start jungling. And that gives your jungler, your mid lane, and your top lane all single experience points. So you'll have 3 main guys not sharing experience, which is important. That's why in ranked people have a solo top, they have a jungle, and then they have a mid. So they have 3 people getting solo experience points. And then that's why the ADC and the support are together, is because the ADC gets most of the CS farm, and then the support just supports the ADC, so the ADC can carry the game. And then a top lane is another form of an ADC, but it's AD, but it's like a tankier ADC. So it's really they're both the same, but at the same time they're not. ADCs obviously are more attack speed champs and lane clearing, and then tanky top lane is more of a purpose for utilizing and to increase the overall team gold. So I'm just gonna get right into it now. That's just basically an overview of that. So that's basically the purpose of a solo top lane. For those of you who don't know and want to know more about it, so I'm just gonna get right into it right now. Pretty much, despite solo lane experience being about 10% less effective than two people sharing, this is made up of accelerated leveling of one champion and the addition of income through creeps, which is his farm. Solo lanes are the safest top lane, as this allows the majority of the team mid lane and duo bot lane to be within a quick jaunt to dragon to aid to stop either friendly or even enemies, which basically means that you'd have 4 people go to dragon while you had the top lane take care of the top lane, obviously. With this in mind, the purpose of solo top follows a priority system. So starting with the laning phase, farm, gold and XP are your primary concern. That's all you really have to worry about. I mean, personally, when I top, I do get kills and I do go for farm. Now, my farm isn't where it should be. Obviously, in my leveling of case, you get some retards at top lane, and you can just pretty much get fed, and you won't even have to worry about farm. But at the same time, if you have farm and you get fed at the same time, you're pretty much unstoppable. So it's always good to have farm. I stress this a lot in my ADC video. It's very important. Gold, XP are your primary concern. That's first. Also, deny. That's the secondary priority system part. Choose a matchup that you want to be aggressive with. Make your farming harder for the other guy, as hard as you can. Nasus, for example, has a very, very weak early game, but he makes an ideal target to bully. That's why Pantheon will target Nasus and pretty much beat him in the early game. But if you face Nasus 1v1, if I'm Pantheon and I'm Nasus, he will destroy me late game, because he's going to be so tanky, and especially if he stacks up his Qs, because that's what basically he's based off of. If he stacks up his Qs late game, I will not be able to take him at all. Whether how much attack damage I have, or how much health I have, he's going to take me out late game. Because Pantheon does seem to fall off, and I'll get into the dueling game in a second. Once I get into that. And then also for the top lane, your basic role is also for the third priority system, is to eat and survive ganks. It's similar to mid lane. You are alone, and you are presented to easily your targets to sneak up on for a top. As most of the time, health potions will beat out early wards. This is why solo top lane tends to be tankier and focuses on surviving over damage progression, such as the ADC. Every gank that you eat and survive allows your team for the security of knowing where the enemy jungler currently is. So that's very important to know. If you have total control of where the other jungler is, you are going to be 10% better. So as you can see, our Trundle right here is top. That gives them a good idea of where our jungler is. So I go in and I automatically just go straight in. Our Trundle starts chasing him down. So what that gives me a chance to do is that completely gives me a chance to take down their turret. So I'm gonna look and see Warwick's down or down the top lane now, but at the very bottom. So I take out the turret right here. That gave me so much of an opportunity to even win the lane even more. So now what that gives me a chance to do right here is that gives me a chance to roam around. So I'm looking to ult on Veigar right now. I ended up not doing that, and then I ended up getting chased down by Warwick, which is also important because I looked at my map right there and I saw him. Never a bad thing. So I'm gonna start, and I also did that a little earlier in the video. I did start roaming bot lane as well, without even having a turret down, because that also gives your team a lot of support. Pretty much gives you 2 junglers, stuff like that. Never a bad thing, ever. I usually, as a Pantheon, I do go bot lane, I do roam around. You just gotta know your champion really well. I mean, if you're unsure of a champion, make sure you know your champion first before you start doing crazy stuff. I mean, like Pantheon is a Twisted Fate mid. Twisted Fate can pretty much gank like a jungler at any time. My ult is a very good ganking opportunity to pretty much take care of any lane that needs help, or if I have my lane pushed hard. Even if I could do that, if the jungler's having trouble, he can take some of my farm. If I'm doing it at the farming stage, I can go gank with my ult, and I can either get a kill or an assist out of it. So it's any way you can help your team out. You're pretty much there to get gold and XP for your team. That's basically what the top lane is about. So the dueling game. I'm gonna get into this. So basically, this is all who you're gonna face top lane. There's 3 different types. There is a farmer, there's a bully, and then there's a splitter. So I'm gonna start with a farmer, I guess I should say. So champs like this is Vladimir, Nasus, Iriella, Rumble, and Olaf. And these are champions who have fairly beast late games, with some gank escape potential. So your opponent is really on the clock. Don't die and farm it up. Be the late game god you were meant to be, and roam when you can, especially if your opponent leaves. And then so a bully champ, or the secondary one is actually a bully. This is where the goal isn't to farm as much as yourself, but as the champions early and mid game is where they shine, and the late game is where they tend to fall off. Now this is where Panth comes into place, where I can take out pretty much anyone. I would take care of any farmer, Vladimir, Nasus, Iriella. I counter every single one of them. And I just beat the other person into submission. So champs like this for top lane would be Urgot, Yorick, Riven, Pantheon, are such examples who excel in keeping the other guy down for as long as possible, but tend to fall off later. Bullies also tend to be less effective against meat walls, which is tanks. Champions like this would include Cho'Gath and Malphite, which I would do very poorly against if I was a bully top lane and I face a Cho'Gath or a Malphite. I would definitely stay by my turret, because they can just sit there and do nothing, and I can try to do so much damage to them, and they can just stand there and burst me down. And I would do no damage to them, and then they just come back and kill me. I'm a bully, and they are a tank. I obviously do not do good against tanks if I am a bully. So that's just things to take into consider, and then also countering champions is very, very important to take into consideration when you are laning, when you are in Champion Select. Is very important. That's where I use a site called ChampionSelect.net. I did mention this in my last other video of ADC and how to ADC. So never a bad thing to counter your other team. It gives you a greater chance of winning the game, and even winning your lane. If you win your lane, that gives you a chance to roam and take out other champions, and then also get yourself fed, and then that also gives you a chance to take out the other turrets, which is the objective of the game. So I'll get into one more thing during the laning phase. So counter picking is important. I use a site called Counter Select. There's also apps out there that you can use from League of Legends, but wave control. Wave control is very important when laning. This is the notion of controlling and freezing the lane, or even aiming for a lane reset. And I will explain both of these in detail right now. So lane reset refers to restoring its lane to its minions station, where the minions will clash in the middle, and you go back to a tug of war as if the game just started. Why you want a lane reset is if your lane is pushing and you suddenly get a jungle gank, you are presented with the following options: potion up, stay, get as much creeps and XP as you can, or risk a second jungle gank, or return to base, and that allows the opponent for free farm, and pushing lanes tend to kill your gold and XP when you're not there. And that's pretty much soaking up as your minions kill theirs. Neither situation is favorable. Warding or spotting their jungler in another lane gives you the opportunity to shove the lane hard, wiping out their remaining minions and hopefully pushing it to the tower. Early games, few champions can tank. I let alone 2 or 3 minion stacks to freeze the lane, so while the tower is aiding and resetting the lane, you are free to return to shop. So that's where the minions can take out the tower and burst down the tower, while you go back and return to shop. So that gives you a better chance of taking out the other champion while you're coming back to lane. So, freezing the lane, this refers to the minion stacks to keep the lane in position of the minion fight at a certain point, usually closer to your tower. So it's never a bad lane to have, or a bad thing to freeze the lane. And then it also, the greater amount of the minions, the faster the lane will push. It's also important because aggressive junglers cannot flank you at all. The closer you are to the tower, the longer it takes the minions to stack, since they have to walk farther away. The greater the minion stack, the bigger the target you are to be against the enemy jungler. Why? Yes, you may be close to your target, but a champion like Alistar can risk flanking even at early levels. This is what we call a gambit gank, where is the goal to toss you from the tower to the right into the minion stacks because they really hurt minion game. Early game, if you're taking damage from minions, it's like taking damage from a basic attack champion. So it's always important to make sure you have more of the minions on your side before you go in. So basically, this is nearing the end of the video, guys. I hope you liked it so far. I'm just going to go over a little bit more things, just a little bit of overview of everything. So when you're laning, learn how to control the wave. Make sure you farm. If you're a bully, you don't have to worry about it as much, but make sure you know the roles of every champ. You can find these anywhere. I took notes on this myself, and what I like to cover. So I mean, basically you can do whatever you want, but so we do end up getting the win right here after we took Baron. I tried to solo Baron as you can see, but yeah, that's basically it, guys. I hope you guys liked the video. This is gonna be the next video I will do is how to be a support. So I hope you guys liked the video. My next video is going to be out, which I'll probably have up by tomorrow, is how to be a support. Thanks for watching. Comment, rate, and subscribe, and thank you very much.